death of the cloud tank. In many effects-heavy films predating the 1970s, a fake sky would need to be a matte painting, a giant on-set painting, filmed smoke overlays, or traditionally animated like a cartoon. Now, like any effects method in film history, results ranged from terrible to amazing. But what none of them were able to capture was a raw, natural sense of dynamic sky movement. It was missing a key element: organic chaos. The cloud tank is an effect and process first developed by special effects artist Douglas Trumbull during his work on Steven Spielberg's 1977 film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Throughout the course of the film, the sky is almost a character. It's reactive, shifting, and interacts with various elements, such as the alien spaceship. In terms of the actual details pertaining to the way the VFX team pulled it off for Close Encounters, Scott Squires was responsible for thinking up the specific setup used on that film. At Hungry Creature Productions, we actually have a detailed video on how you can create a similar effect at home. But for those who haven't seen that video, here's a very brief rundown on what is involved in the execution of this practical effect. The basics are: a large all-glass aquarium was filled halfway with salt water, and then fresh water was carefully added to the top. Salt water is heavier, so it tends to stay on the bottom. You want to avoid mixing them if possible. White liquid tempera paint is injected into the fresh water portion, usually just a few inches from the dividing line of the fresh and salt water. When the tempera paint is injected, it billows outward like cumulus clouds, and will tend to sink a bit. But the salt water prevents it from going lower, so the cloud tends to flatten its base on the saltwater line and billow outward, similar to real clouds based on air pressure levels. To create different effects, he used a combination of food colorings, condensed milk, sprinkles, and glitter. The water tank as used on Close Encounters was a 2,000-gallon glass tank approximately 7 by 7 by 4 feet deep. But you can do a smaller scale version of the effect in a regular size fish tank. The process is described as laborious. Trumbull and his team only managed to shoot one cloud tank effect per day, maybe two if they were lucky. Yet the results are amazing. Depending on the method, they can look believably realistic or creepily alien in nature. The success of cloud tank effects as an atmospheric quality in Close Encounters of the Third Kind inspired Steven Spielberg and other filmmakers to continue utilizing the effect for intense, climactic, and dramatic scenes in Raiders of the Lost Ark, Poltergeist, and Independence Day. Although Independence Day used this technique, the result was manipulated by computer technology. These resulting cloud elements would then be combined with live-action footage or model photography to produce a really cool, very organic-looking shot. Here at Hungry Creature, we've used this method in several places during the creation of our short film Senescent. The problem with using this technique, however, is that you're never really sure what you're going to get, and it's impossible to control precisely what happens. Basically, you just have to keep shooting and hope to catch something cool on film. And here we've struck upon the Achilles heel of the cloud tank as a practical effect. The film industry is not particularly interested in something it cannot fully control, quantify, direct, and bill for. The artistry of the cloud tank technique has so many factors: composition of the milk-like liquid, temperature of the water, placement of the camera, the evolution of the shape, etc. These are all uncontrollable to a certain degree. Now, this is the beauty and the downfall of the technique. You could work hard with the tank for an entire day and still end up with something completely unusable, or you could get everything you needed for the week in a single day. Like most practical effects, the pure joy of experimenting with cloud tanks is something a computer cannot match or take away. You'll never get something so organically random from a computer, though you will get something far more directable from a simulation. At the end of the day, cloud tanks were a great way of creating organic shapes which would otherwise have had to be done with hand-drawn animation or perhaps smoke. But the film industry is a game of numbers and control. If it cannot fit in a spreadsheet or be reworked daily as per client nitpicks, then Hollywood has no interest in it. Movies are, after all about money. And anyone who tells you otherwise has their head in the clouds. This has been Cinema Cemetery, digging 6 feet deeper into filmmaking culture.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. If you liked what you saw, give us a like. If you didn't, don't. We rotate through a series of shows, so there's always something new for you. We also have 2 stores. There's the Hungry Creature Boutique and the Cool People Cool Store. Also, if you like the music you heard in this episode, check out Fractal Impulse on Facebook and Bandcamp and Instagram, whatever social media, and all that stuff. Yeah, cool. Bye.